It's a top 5 battle between defense and offense. All-American goalie John Kemp leads a stingy Notre Dame backline that ranks among the best in all of college lacrosse. Wesley Berg headlines a Denver attack that scores in bunches and looks to make it an unlucky day for the Irish. It's number 3 Notre Dame versus number 4 Denver next. Welcome to the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic. The second of our doubleheader is the main event. On this St. Patrick's Day Eve, the number 4 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish are led in with the bagpipes. They will tangle with the 3rd ranked Denver Pioneers. Welcome in again, everybody. Mark Dixon, excited to be joined by former University of Denver head coach Jamie Monroe. A battle of the Titans, number 3 versus number 4. What can we expect in this epic tilt?
This is classic offense versus defense. Denver shooting at an unprecedented 40% clip in Notre Dame. They've had the best defense for the last 3 or 4 years. This is going to be an incredible battle. It's going to be interesting to see who prevails.
Well, in this battle of offense and defense, you need great players. A great defensive player for Notre Dame, an offensive stud for Denver.
John Kemp seems like he's been the best goalie for the last 4 years. Goalie of the year, first team All-American. And Wesley Berg, averaging 3 goals a game, shooting over 50%, leads the Pioneer attack.
There's a good look at Ryan LaPlante. Interesting goalie situation for the Denver Pioneers. LaPlante will start and play the first half. He will be substituted for Jamie Faust, the talented netminder. So oftentimes, Jamie, in college lacrosse, you do not have a dual-headed monster between the pipes. It's like a starting quarterback in football, but Coach Bill Tierney, very comfortable moving to the dual goalie situation.
Some people say if you have 2 goalies, you have no goalies. Not in this case. These guys teamed up for 18 saves against Ohio State last week.
Trevor Tierney, Bill Tierney's son, there to get a good look at him, national champion at Princeton. At first, he was adverse to the double-headed monster, but he experienced it at Princeton, and that's why he was adverse to it at first. But then he's the one, Coach Bill Tierney said, Trevor Tierney made the call to go to the double goalie situation. He said both goalies are playing very well in practice. Both goalies have earned playing time. And let's face it, if they played any other position on the field, these 2 would be full-time starters.
No question. Faust was an All-American as a freshman in their Final Four run. Gets injured last year. LaPlante comes in and plays great. You know, these guys are both great goalies, and it's a real luxury to have that type of talent.
We just got a good look at Bill Tierney. There is Kevin Corrigan in his 25th season as a head coach at Notre Dame. Kevin Corrigan is 3-1 all-time against Bill Tierney. The only loss in 1995 when Bill Tierney was still at Princeton. Notre Dame has defeated Denver 3 consecutive years. We're off with the face-off, and big news immediately. Number 32 in white for Denver, Chase Carrero, returns for his first game action since February the 17th, the loss to Penn State. What does a return for a guy like Carrero do for the Denver Pioneers?
Oh, so much. And first of all, he's a leader. He's an inspiration. He's probably the best athlete on the field, and he's an incredible face-off guy. Huge to have him back.
Carrero was a game-time decision. He looked terrific in practice yesterday. Explosive, energetic, athletic, suffered a knee injury. He's back in the lineup. First offensive possession of the game goes to Denver. Eric Adamson with the ball. He is joined by Jeremy Noble and Cam Flint in the midfield. Keys to today's game for the Denver Pioneers.
Well, first of all, I think they got to get to 11 goals. They've struggled to get there in the past, the last 2 times they've played Notre Dame. And then secondly, I think that they got to win the ground ball battle, because if they have the ball more, their offense is so efficient, they'll get to the number of goals they need.
We see Notre Dame coming out right away. Very aggressive defensively, but not erratic. This is a very disciplined defensive team in front of the best goalie in all lacrosse, John Kemp. This is Wesley Berg. Berg being guarded by a short stick for Notre Dame. Quinn Cully. Eric Adamson now working. Switch by the Notre Dame defense. Jeremy Noble now with the sweep. Draws some blue jerseys. Denver in all white, Notre Dame in all blue.
A timer on call here. Denver likes to wear you down. Notre Dame plays it so tight that Denver's got the timer on call. 30 seconds to get a shot off.
Shot by Cam Flint goes wide. Timer on. The invisible shot clock in college lacrosse. 30 seconds to get a shot on goal, defined as hitting the goalie, hitting a pipe, or scoring a goal. First 20 seconds are kept electronically on a beeper for the officials. Shot to goal! Timer on, no problem. It's Wesley Bird with the finish.
Beautiful flip play. 3 players behind the net. Wesley Bird pops off a little pick, and if he's got that type of time, I think he's going to be in the back of the net. What beautifully conceived play by Matt Brown, the offense coordinator from the Denver Pioneers.
The assist by number 22, Gordy Korber. Korber, returning from injury, has missed the last 2 games for Denver. So 2 huge boosts offensively for the Pioneers in Chase Carrero, who violates on the faceoff, and Gordy Korber on the attack. Jamie, when you look at Notre Dame, the keys for the 4th-ranked Fighting Irish.
Last week in their loss to Hofstra, they just didn't shoot well. I think they need to shoot 30%. And then if they can make 13 saves, I think it'll get the job done. In that Denver doesn't shoot that much, they just shoot at a high percentage.
Notre Dame coming off of their first loss of the season, a 1-goal decision to Hofstra.
Denver's in a zone defense, and they played almost exclusively zone last week against Ohio State. They got torn up in their game against Penn State, and the zone did a great job, and you're going to see a lot of that today.
Bill Tierney says his team has improved defensively, but they still have a long way to go, and they're very confident playing zone in front of goaltender Ryan LaPlante. Shot is faked by Notre Dame. Feed inside, shot. We have a flag down. We're going to have a penalty coming up against the Denver Pioneers. Notre Dame will be on the man up.
Coach Corrigan said they worked on zone every day this week. And while they looked prepared, they did get forced into a feed that was really not that opportune. And I think that was actually good defense by Denver. A little bit of an unlucky push at the end.
The foul is on Chris Hampton of Denver. He pushes Will Corrigan of Notre Dame into the crease. 30-second man-up opportunity for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Shot to goal! Quick ball movement, just playing catch up top. Sean Rogers, the senior, gets Notre Dame on the board.
Pretty simple man up. Denver's really overplaying the inside and leaving the wings open. And open wings mean open set feet and open shots.
Look at the speed of this shot, Jamie. Ryan LaPlante can't catch up to it.
No, and most goalies aren't going to get a piece of that one unless they guess. That was really not great man-down defense by Denver, and really nice man-up offense.
Huge shot in the arm for Notre Dame. They only came in averaging a 22% success rate with the extra man. Nice start for them. Carrero on the ensuing faceoff gets pushed to the ground. Not a faceoff violation. Ball was out in free space. Faceoff violations again this year. 3 or more in any given half on a team level results in a 30-second penalty. One of the many rule changes we've seen in 2013. Rule changes, Jamie, that have really sped up the game and been a delight for coaches, players, and fans alike.
No question. It's changed the paradigm that most coaches live by. Most coaches want to hold the ball, stall the ball, and now they can't. And now they're allowing their players to be more creative, and it is an absolute blast to watch.
Denver attacking the cage. Sean Canizero throws the ball out of bounds. Gordy Korber couldn't handle that exchange pass. Turnover to Notre Dame. We've talked about Denver's offense, Notre Dame's defense. How about the matchup of the Irish O against the Denver D?
It's going to be really interesting watching the Irish play against a zone. They play, unlike most teams, they don't have a zone offense with a whole playbook of things to do. They run a motion, and if their motion is going to be on, they're going to be really tough for Pioneers to stop. But motion offense is very, very difficult sometimes to get into a groove, and that's what the Pioneers are hoping happens with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Quick feed shot, second goal of the game for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It is Sean Rogers with an absolute laser, giving the Irish the 2-1 advantage.
A little bit of a broken play. Again, open wing, and this time it's a low to high shot. It goes far side on LaPlante. That whole thing was started by a really bad and uncharacteristic turnover at the other end. It took the ball out of Denver's hands and gave it back to the Irish.
Correction goal for Stephen Murphy, his 4th of the season. He loves the big stage. Murphy had 2 goals and 2 assists against Virginia in the 2012 NCAA quarterfinals. Face-off violation against Notre Dame. Number 1 for the Irish here in the first half. Bill Tierney says Notre Dame is a machine. They remind him of the Hopkins teams from the mid-'80s where Tierney was an assistant coach under Don Zimmerman. They know who they are, and they change for no one. Matt Cavanaugh with the ground ball pickup at midfield. Whistle. It's a push call against Notre Dame. Possession will stay with the Pioneers.
Let's talk about that. They change for no one. What that means is they don't have any junk defenses. They never play zone. They never double pole the midfield. They never shut somebody off. They play their system, and they play it against anything you throw at them, and they play it beautifully.
And they make no apologies whatsoever. Show up with your guys, we're going to show up with ours. Nothing fancy, nothing different, and let's see who the better team is. Cam Flint now up top. Cully with great defense. Flag flies. Jeremy Noble corrals the loose ball. No more keep it in. In that box area, you see those long white lines on the sideline. Shot by Cam Flint. He takes John Kemp. Mile high. Low to high. This game is tied.
Cam Flint is so strong. He literally can flick his wrists and generate more velocity than just about anyone I have ever seen. Here you see him step in, shoot it around his man, and he just pins the upper corner.
Look at the accuracy and placement. After the loss to Penn State, Bill Tierney challenged his 2-time All-American to step up his game. He has scored, this is his 5th goal now in 3 games. 2 last week against Ohio State. Ensuing face-off corralled by Carrero. He beats Liam O'Connor. Both of these teams, Jamie, coming in less than 50%. How important is it to win the face-off battle for each of these teams to impose their will on the other?
I think it's huge because bottom line is that it's a possession game, and with it, when you just look at simple stats, Denver's shooting at 40%. If they get the ball more, they're going to score more goals, and they absolutely have to stay in this game.
Notre Dame quick ball movement, shot in the plant. Held his angle, makes a beautiful save. Denver now on the clear. Jamie, let's take a look at our U-view left of your screen. Ryan LaPlante with his first stop.
Nice ball movement, a sliver of an angle, and honestly, it was a great save, but Notre Dame's got to take better shots than that if they're gonna score at the clip they need to.
Notre Dame offense comes in averaging 10 goals a game. Denver just over 13 goals a game. So Notre Dame known for their defense, but they've picked up their scoring. Look at that shooting percentage, Jamie, for Denver. 40%, 2 out of 3 so far today.
When you watch teams and you look at man-up percentages, you hope to get to 40%, and you're one of the top units in the nation if you're 40%. These guys are shooting 40% in all situations. It's absolutely astounding. But that shooting percentage is not just talent, it's discipline. They don't take bad shots. They take shots from the center of the field, usually inside of 10 yards.
Sean Cannizzaro on the offense for Denver. Whistle, illegals pick. Moving pick, a point of emphasis here in 2013. We've got our first one of the ball game today so far against Denver. ESPNU's Warrior Game of the Week continues Wednesday as the Mountain Hawks, led by their attack duo of David DiMaria and Dante Fantoni, host the Tough Minutemen. The Warrior Game of the Week, UMass versus Lehigh, Wednesday at 6 on ESPNU and live on Watch ESPNU. Denver has a big win here in Colorado a couple weeks ago against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks.
Lehigh loses both games coming out here, but in part because their starting goalie, who's Quint thought last week is the best goalie he'd seen, wasn't able to play, didn't make the trip, and it made a huge difference for the Mountain Hawks.
Physical play, nice hit by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That was number 20, Nico Seller, lowering the boom. Flag comes out, far side of the field. We'll see what this is. Business has definitely picked up in the last 15 seconds. It's going to be unnecessary roughness against Denver.
So we saw the first hit. That wasn't the call.
The foul, I believe, the referee said number 26 in white. Let's let this play out, see if we can find out where the infraction is. Behind the play.
I don't know about that one, Mark. I didn't really see much on that. That didn't look too unnecessary. It definitely didn't look too rough.
Carson Cannon, the guilty party. Notre Dame with their second extra man opportunity. Shot saved by LaPlante. Ball's loose on the crease. Bodies are diving. Matt Cavanaugh comes up. Crease violation against Notre Dame. Possession over to Denver.
I don't know why Notre Dame, they lined up in the same formation. Denver lined up in the same defense. I don't know why Notre Dame didn't just play catch with their wing until they had the open wing shot again. It would have been there. They settled for a shot that's why their shooting percentage isn't that great. It was too far out. It was a 13-yard shot. You're not going to score that on a very high percentage basis.
The unnecessary roughness penalty against Denver was a 1-minute releasable foul in the sport of lacrosse. A releasable foul means if the opponent score a goal, the penalty's released. Non-releasable means no matter how many goals they score, your man has to stay in the box. Here we see the teams back at even strength as Eric Adamson trots onto the field for the Denver Pioneers. Coming up on the 5-minute mark here in the first quarter, Notre Dame 2, Denver 2. Game 2 of the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic. Number 3 versus number 4. Noble gets it back. Nice poke check by that Notre Dame defense. Number 27 with the strip, Tyler Anderson. Ball corralled though by Denver. Here come the Pioneers with numbers. Adamson across field to Flint. Flint side, shot burn. Just over top the goal. Backed up by Eric Wall.
That's called ground ball offense right there. Noble picks up the ball and he bangs it, and then 5 passes later, they got a shot right in front. The defense is never set when the ball is loose. Move that ball quickly and you will get a good look.
Coach Kevin Corrigan of Notre Dame saying offensively, Denver plays a unique style. It's a hybrid with a box influence, and it's very, very tough to defend, especially in those unsettled, tattered situations. Pioneers back on the attack. Burn down the wing. Over to Law. This is Eric Adamson. Feed off to the side. Skip pass up to Flint. Time and room. Misses. Notre Dame, they say, was closer to the ball when and where it went out of bounds. Turnover to the Irish.
That was great offense by Denver and great defense by Notre Dame. Flint just throws it over the top of the net.
How about Wesley Byrne sticking his nose in, laying the boom on Tyler Anderson. Timeout, Notre Dame.
With the quick restarts, you're going to see coaches calling very quick, especially in the first half, timeouts just like that. They would have had transition right down their throat had they not called that.
We're all tied up. Back after these messages. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic is brought to you by Whitman Sampler. Today is someone's birthday or anniversary. Give them a Whitman Sampler. And Brine, every victory earned.
Listen up, men. It's time we learn to make the big plays, and they start with chocolate.
Notre Dame and Denver tied at 3 apiece. We take a look at our first quarter summary. Both goalies, 2 saves apiece. Stephen Murphy, a good start for Notre Dame, and sounds like a law firm right there. Law, Flint, Berg for Denver, but they're getting the job done. The stars have shown up for Denver offensively.
Yeah, both sides. I mean, so far this has been everything we've hoped it would be. Notre Dame playing great defense, but Denver just creating opportunities as they always do.
Getting a good look at both head coaches, Kevin Corrigan, Bill Tierney. 4th meeting between the two since Bill Tierney came over to be the head coach of the University of Denver. Notre Dame has won all 3 of those matchups. Liam O'Connor with his 4th face-off win of the day, 50-50 in that department. So the teams are splitting even at the top.
I can tell you that Denver's confidence is not as high as it was in the beginning of the game. They're putting a pole on the wing. Normally, they've got Flint and Noble on the wings, no long pole middies, and they've been doing that. But Carrero isn't 100%, and they're a little bit worried about losing him, so they're getting their pole in on defense on the face-off wings.
Bill Tierney was worried, A, about the field conditions here at Sports Authority Field, and B, he basically said Liam O'Connor just beat you up at the face-off for Notre Dame. Jimmy Marlotte, let's fly. Shot just over top of the Denver cage. Marlotte, 5 goals against Duke in an earlier season win for the Fighting Irish. Denver still in that zone. Notre Dame working it around to Marlotte, down low. Feet up top. It's Kimball. Kimball tries to hit Cutter Doyle. Ball's knocked down. Loose ball corralled by Denver. Decision right there by Notre Dame.
It's always hard for a guy to sneak from behind the net with a man on him. If they sneak and they're open, feed them. If there's a man on them, don't feed it. It's too high of a degree of difficulty to make that play. I didn't like it.
There we see Notre Dame shooting. They take 38 shots a game. Denver only takes about 33, which makes their goal scoring output that much more impressive. Notre Dame's already put 6 toward the Denver cage in this game. Denver really spreading out this Notre Dame D. This style of defense for Notre Dame, does it make Denver more cautious and more methodical on offense?
Well, I think that, no, I don't think so. I think they play exactly the same way. They may have certain wrinkles that they're going to look to do, but in the end of the day, they have to be, and they are, they're very, very smart in the way they play. They only take great shots, and the same kind of opportunities are going to pop up against any team.
Eric Law's feed was knocked down. He regains possession. Flags fly into the Colorado skyline, and we're going to have a penalty against the Fighting Irish.
Cutting up. 13 cutting up.
It's a push against number 4 for Notre Dame, Stephen O'Hara. 30-second man advantage coming up for the Denver Pioneers.
Notre Dame penalty, number 4, Stephen O'Hara, 30 seconds pushing.
Let's take a look at our UV of that penalty, Jamie.
Normally a push on a loose ball is just a change of possession, but the Denver player is able to get that ball into his stick so quickly that it ends up being drawing a 30-second penalty. It was a great play by Denver to get that.
Nice knockdown by the the Notre Dame man-down defense. That was Christopher Bravosnik.
Huge play by Notre Dame to basically keep Denver off the board. They're so efficient on man up, and Coach Brown has just great looks schematically. as high-end as it can get. And so to get a knockdown like that is really what they need.
Strength on strength. Denver comes in 40% on the extra man. Notre Dame, a penalty kill success rate, Jamie, of 13. They only out 13% of the time. 87% success rate killing penalties. Looks like they're going to kill this one. Add to that percentage.
Notre Dame's had their success on their offense when they dodge and fade the adjacent player away from the ball, and that's how they've scored a few of their goals. Look for them to dodge and have adjacents fade back.
Running right to the heart of that Denver defense is Tyler Kimball. Shot goes wide. Backed up by the Irish. Kavanaugh. Shot, save, LaPlante. Nifty save. Stephen Murphy with a high shot. Carson Cannon on the loose ball. Wheels back. The sophomore out of Stillwater, Minnesota. Ryan LaPlante, he read that one, Jamie.
That was great offense. Great faking, a good opportunity, and LaPlante stands tall and makes the save.
The two-headed monster in the goal for Denver. Ryan LaPlante will get the first 30 minutes. Jamie Faust will get the second 30. Sean Cannizzaro with the ball now for Denver. O'Hara guarding Eric Wall. Cannizzaro catches the feed, wheels back, gets it back up top. Shot out of bounds, backed up by the Pioneers. Get a good look at Harrison Archer of really what is a hybrid, not set second midfield line for the Denver Pioneers. This is Wesley Berg. Good defense by O'Hara, forces him behind. Berg working, turns back, shot just wide. Gordy Korber will run it down from Denver. Offensively, what are you seeing here?
Well, I saw them try to run their little flip play that they scored the first goal of the game on, and this time Notre Dame fought through the seal. They're just going to keep banging away, moving the ball, and trying to either get the ball backside or reverse it against the grain back to the ball side.
Archer feet up top, good check down by the Notre Dame defense. Inside was Thomas Steffen with the check. Denver now with 10 shots on the game. Notre Dame with 7. The accuracy, though, of the Denver Pioneers, at least in that last possession, not where it has been so far in 2013. Just under 9 minutes left to go here in the second quarter. Notre Dame 3, Denver 3. The Notre Dame offense working it around. Denver packed in that zone. Step in shot, knocked down, rebound, can't be handled by Kavanaugh. Check, ball's loose. Connor Doyle comes up with it. Nice ground ball by the sophomore. Timeout called by Notre Dame. We got a tight one here, folks. Notre Dame with the timeout. They'll have possession when we come back. The Irish and the Pioneers. Whitman Sampler, Mile High Classic, Game 2. Notre Dame and Denver tied at 3 apiece. Jamie, we've talked a lot about Denver's offense. How about Notre Dame's defense? Let's give some love to the Irish D.
There's a couple really interesting clips here. Berg, strong right-handed player. Notre Dame using the stick efficiently to take away his right hand. Now he's running towards the back of the net, overplaying his right, continuing to overplay his right, and giving him absolutely nothing in the one-on-one. And Berg, by the way, is a great dodger. Powerful athlete.
Berg can do it all, but we're seeing Stephen O'Hara right there, the junior out of Westchester, Pennsylvania, match him step for step, move for move. A testament as to why this Notre Dame defense is arguably the best in all of college lacrosse.
I believe the best thing they do is keep pressure on players' hands. They make it so hard.
Ground ball picked up. Here come the Pioneers. This is Garrett Holst. off of the hiccup by Notre Dame. The unforced error. Wrap check. Can't dislodge the ball from Holst. Nice clear by the short stick D-midi of the Pioneers. Notre Dame unable to get a shot off after the timeout. Eric Law from behind being guarded by David Miller. Excuse me, Matt Miller. His brother David, a short stick D-midi for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, playing for Kevin Corrigan after spending his first couple years at the University of Maryland, a fifth-year graduate student for the Fighting Irish. This is Eric Adamson. Little slip pick. Doesn't fool the Notre Dame D. Tyler Anderson behind, guarding Cam Flint. Flint looking, feet up top. Korver, shot, score! Number 22, no, that is not Mark Matthews. That is number 22, Gordy Korver, the freshman, gets his first of the game.
They have so much confidence in Flint. They'll stick him behind the net against a long pole. He skips it through, and then a beautiful off-hip shot. One of the hardest locations for a goalie ever to get a piece of. Totally handcuffed Kemp.
Korver has done a great job so far. 4 goals against Duke, 4 goals against Lehigh. He missed the Pioneers' last 2 contests. Welcome back, Gordy Korver. Liam O'Connor wins the ensuing faceoff. Hounded by Chase Carrero. Ball still loose around midfield. Here come the Irish. They're up with it. Nice ground ball by Jim Marlock. I think this is the way this game is going to go, Jamie. A slugfest, toe-to-toe, neither team backing down. And Notre Dame, they're no stranger to 1-goal games. They played 3 consecutive 1-goal contests.
Yep, and I talked to Coach Corrigan after him. He said, hey, why are we in 1-goal contests? Maybe that's a problem. Maybe we shouldn't be so happy about these miraculous OT wins. Notre Dame just brings one off the pipe. You know, I think LaPlante so far has been excellent in this game. He's made some huge saves because Notre Dame is starting to get some decent wing shots on this zone defense from Denver.
We saw that turnover as Marlock rips one shot, score! No turnover there. Jim Marlock, fundamentally sound, textbook, high to low bounce shot, ties this thing up.
Notre Dame, nice little throwback. Plenty of time to wind up, perfect balance. And while Denver almost got there, there was just too much velocity on that shot. The high bouncer is a great shot against LaPlante too, because he's quick to get down low.
There you see a good shot of Marlock. The junior out of Clarksville, Maryland, River Hill High School, showing his versatility and durability, taking a wing on the faceoff after scoring that big, important goal for Notre Dame. Ensuing ground ball picked up by the Irish. 43, Matt Landis, the freshman out of Pelham, New York. Marlock now with a dodge to the cage, feeds inside. Ball's loose, picked up by Denver. Here come the Pioneers in transition. They've got numbers. Cannon. Shot, score! Cannon to Wesley Bird to Eric Law. Transition, fast break. It all starts with the turnover, Jamie.
Ball gets fed inside. Great help defense by Denver. And now it's off to the races on the fast break. One of the biggest keys on a break is deliver a nice pass to the point man. And then Law stepping up. This guy can score in a lot of ways, and I'll tell you right now, his outside shot has got legit velocity. I remember seeing him in high school. He can really shoot it.
Coach Bill Tierney said Eric Law deferred last year so much to Matthews and Demopoulos. He was almost intimidated not to take over the offense. Well, the offense belongs to him now, and he's on the tail end of that fast break. Last 3 possessions for Notre Dame. 2 have been turnovers. 1 was a goal, but those 2 turnovers, Kevin Corrigan told us this week, they waste possessions, and he doesn't know why, but particularly in the second quarter. How do you combat something like that?
It's tough because if you talk about it, it feels like it's just going to end up happening more. So what you really have to do is just, grow as a team and be disciplined.
Disciplined shot there, rings off the pipe. Cam Flint wins the race to the sideline. Unlucky break for Notre Dame. Not only do they hit the pipe on a beautiful shot, but they lose the race on the shot. When and where the ball goes out, whoever is closest to it, when it goes out of bounds, Cam Flint wins that race.
Yeah, and he's going to win that race a lot. That guy has legit speed. In fact, the whole Denver Pioneer team is really fast, and that's one of the trademarks of their whole program.
Cam Flint, a top pick in the Major League Lacrosse draft. This past January, he will suit up for MLL in the summer of 2013. Challenged by his coach Bill Tierney a couple weeks back to step up his game. And the senior out of Georgetown, Ontario, has delivered. This is Law. Up to Bailey Dodds. Dodds working behind that Notre Dame goal. Law with a stutter step. Gets it up top. Good defense by Notre Dame. Harrison Archer looking for any kind of opening. Canizero wheels back to his left hand. Nice poke checks by Tyler Anderson of the Fighting Irish.
This is a long possession. This is going to wear Notre Dame down. If they can get a stop, it's going to be key because they're going to be tired.
Timer on against Denver. 30 seconds to get a shot on goal. A shot again defined as an offering that hits the goalie, hits the pipe, or results in a score. Shot just wide. Timer on continues. 13 shots now for Denver. We're down to the final 10 seconds as the trail official chops his hands, similar to a basketball count. Timer on violation against Denver. The 30-second invisible shot clock expires. Possession over to Notre Dame.
What a defensive stand by Notre Dame. Denver moves the ball so beautifully, and they cut and they dodge, and Notre Dame was up to the test. Great play.
First midfield unit for the Irish back into the contest. Marlotti scored the last Notre Dame goal. Over to Will Corrigan.
Notre Dame's gotten a little bit unlucky in this quarter because they've had great offense. Hit the pipe a couple times. The plan has come up big a few times. Notre Dame really needs to try to crack this zone.
You can see Denver still packing it in, especially Marlotte. He's got that outside rocket. Here it comes. Saved by LaPlante. Ball's back to Marlotte. Check free. Loose ball corralled by Denver. Flag flies. Looks like we're going to have a penalty against the Fighting Irish. LaPlante with his 5th save right there on that heavy shot by Jim Marlotte. He's played well so far here in the first half.
He stood up to the high heat, but I got to tell you, Marlotte telegraphed that shot. That's why LaPlante was able to stand up to it.
Here's the penalty. You talk about unlucky. Right call.
It's a right call.
Player had the ball on his stick. You trip him up. You don't mean to, but you still take him down. You take away advantage. 30-second push call against the Irish.
Correction, 1 minute for tripping. Denver penalty, 12 minutes, 39 seconds.
Yes, correction, tripping call to be a 1-minute foul. A 1-minute foul against Notre Dame. Denver with the extra man up to Jeremy Noble. He has been quiet so far. Noble coming into this game with 9 goals. Quick ball movement by Denver. Eric Law finds a cutter, shot! Off the mark, Denver goes in the crease. Another great defensive stand by Notre Dame.
Big time defense by Notre Dame. Such great ball movement. Beautiful feet inside on the cut. They didn't cash in and they ran through the crease. Notre Dame needed that break.
Notre Dame with the man down clear. Coming up on 1:30 left to go here in the first half. Notre Dame trailing Denver 5-4. Second game of the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic. Last few seconds of the penalty ticks off. We are back at even strength. Marlotte steps in, shot. Talk about strength. He has got some mustard on that release. Less than a minute to go here in the second quarter. Notre Dame fighting against this Denver zone. Matt Cavanaugh working down to Marlotte. Marlotte steps in, fakes the shot, gets it up. Feeding to the crease, goes awry. Can Notre Dame chase it down? They cannot. Another turnover for the Irish. Denver, both of their timeouts left. Their sixth turnover of the game for Notre Dame. We'll see if Bill Tierney uses any of these timeouts, if his team can get in the box for a timeout to be called. It's Eric Adamson. Timeout called by Bill Tierney. Don't go anywhere. We've got the final 21 seconds coming up. Denver leading Notre Dame 5-4. They'll look to add to their lead when we come back.
Listen up, men. It's time we learn to make the big plays, and they start with chocolate, because women love chocolate. Birthdays, Mother's Days, anniversaries, special occasions, treat each one like it's the championship game. The big play? Give her the Whitman Sampler, an American classic.
From the Mile High Classic in Denver to the Independence Classic in Philadelphia, the Whitman Sampler is a proud sponsor of college lacrosse. Here's hoping that your favorite team comes out on top. And remember, the big games call for an American classic. Give her a Whitman Sampler.
The countdown to the tournament is on.
Gonzaga, champions of the West Coast Conference, #1 team in the country, and perhaps locking up a #1 seed.
ESPNU has the madness of March covered from every angle with Cat's Corner, College Basketball Live, The Experts, and exclusive coverage of the Women's Selection Special. The tournament countdown tips off tomorrow at 1 on ESPNU.
Thinking about your child's future?
So has anybody actually started saving for college yet?
Oh, not me.
Oh, no, we actually started.
You have?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. We figure you start saving a little now, or you'll borrow a lot later on.
Yeah, but how did you even know where to start?
Oh, I found out about the Gerber Life College Plan.
Call now to receive a free brochure about the Gerber Life College Plan. It's easy.
It's pretty much worry-free.
Well, how could it be worry-free? What if something happens with the stock market?
No matter what happens, we get guaranteed safe growth.
So when she's ready for college, the money will be there.
And it doesn't take a lot of money to get started.
For as little as $10 a week, you can start saving for college and get guaranteed growth. Just call now.
Oh, it's a life insurance policy, too.
Oh, that's different.
And if she decides not to go to college, there's no penalty, so she can use the money for anything.
We've got to get started.
Yes, we do, because you're going to college.
Call 1-800-945-8229 for your free informational brochure.
The NCAA Women's Selection Special is on ESPN and ESPNU Monday. Coverage tips at 7 on ESPN, where the field of 64 is revealed live. Then catch extended coverage on ESPNU at 8. The NCAA Women's Selection Special, presented by Capital One. Monday on ESPN and ESPNU, and also live on Watch ESPN. Notre Dame trailing Denver 5-4. That timeout by Bill Tierney and the Denver Pioneers. Jamie, 21 seconds left. What are they drawing up in the huddle?
I think they're going to end up with some kind of a flip play that's going to allow for some quick misdirection, either a flip or a fake flip like they did behind the net, and then it's going to allow the ball to immediately reverse to somebody who's going to be popping off the crease for a quick shot or a hitch and go type of opportunity.
Notre Dame coach Kevin Corrigan looking on, hoping his defense has another stand left in them for this first half. Denver does have another timeout in their back pocket, so if this thing doesn't start off well, they can call another one, but it looks like they're going to play through. Denver, wide circle, really spread out. Coming up on 10 seconds, Eric Law initiates from behind, up to Adamson. Adamson to Corbin. Here comes the dodge. Down to the wing, cutter, shot, score! A well-executed play. Couldn't have drawn it up any better. Couldn't have executed it any better. It ends with Cam Flint.
This is a very well-conceived play, and it's the same one they ran last year against Notre Dame for a goal. This is a pick and roll where the roll man is fed by the second pass. You'll see the lefty alley dodge by Noble, the pick by Flint, and then he rolls to the net and Law redirects. It's such a beautiful play, really well conceived. And it worked last year in the overtime loss to Notre Dame.
Wesley Berg with his second assist in the game to go along with one goal. Cam Flint with his second goal. And it comes right before the end of the first half. We are headed to break. This game has been everything we thought it would be. Nip and tuck, tough lacrosse, and a Denver offense that has done just enough to lead 6-4. We're back with halftime right after this.
Listen up, man. It's time we learn to make the big plays, and they start with chocolate, because women love chocolate. Birthdays, Mother's Days, anniversaries, special occasions, treat each one like it's the championship game. The big play? Give her the Whitman Sampler, an American classic.
From the Mile High Classic in Denver to the Independence Classic in Philadelphia, the Whitman Sampler is a proud sponsor of college lacrosse. Here's hoping that your favorite team comes out on top. And remember, the big games call for an American classic. Give her a Whitman Sampler.
You can stick with a hardwired strategy when it comes to investing. Choose the stocks you like one by one, or select Sector Spider ETFs and add the diversification of an entire sector of the S&P 500, like technology, with liquidity, all-day tradability, and transparency. Ready to add diversification to your equity investments? Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Go to sectorspiders.com for prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully. Visit us at sectorspiders.com.
Barry, Coach Mitchell here. Chris didn't make the team this year. He's just not ready.
All right, fellas, listen up, fellas. I made a decision when someone told you you weren't good enough, or fast enough, or strong enough. Think of all the time you spent to prove them wrong. The years of hard work, sacrifice. You made it to the national championship, men. Buckley, lead us out.
Miami looks to make history on an NBA Special Edition. The Heat are chasing an incredible 23 straight wins, and the Seas have written off their doubters. In their last meeting, for the tie, it took 2 OTs to decide a winner. Now a wicked Eastern Conference rivalry burns again. And the Knicks cap off a big West Coast swing against the Jazz, who are fighting for a shot at the postseason. Heat Celtics at 8 Eastern, Knicks Jazz at 10:30 tomorrow on ESPN.
It's halftime between Notre Dame and Denver. Returning this season for our college lacrosse audience is an ESPNU lacrosse podcast hosted each week by Quint Kesenick. Quint will bring on some of the key players, coaches, and insiders for detailed discussions on this growing sport. The ESPNU lacrosse podcast is available at espn.com/podcenter and at iTunes. Subscribe for free. We'll get you set for the second half after these messages.
Hey, it's Andrew Bynum, two-time NBA champion, and I challenge you to check out Celebrity Sweat.
Irish trailing the Denver Pioneers 6-4. Let's take a look at the first half highlights here, Jamie, as we see Bill Tierney and Kevin Corrigan greeting each other before the game. Notre Dame got down to business early.
They did, and they've done a pretty nice job of getting the shots they want. But in the end, LaPlante has been playing great, and they really haven't been able to get as many by as they really would like to.
Here we see the Notre Dame offense really early on. Rogers, Foley, here comes Jimmy Marlott, putting it past Ryan LaPlante. Really interacting against this zone defense in a good way, but Denver, you can't hold down one of the nation's most lethal offensive teams for long.
Yeah, and Matt Brown doing such a great job of creating opportunities for off-the-ball movements and really taking advantage of the incredible stick skills of this team.
They worked inside, they worked outside, they got rebounds, solving first-team All-American John Kemp.
Beautiful little skip pass from Flint to Korver.
Here we see some transition. Carson Cannon with the ground ball. Denver, they want to run all day, and their defense has created some transition opportunities.
Yeah, they want to run because the numbers are better. And when the numbers are in their favor, they're going to score more goals.
They got one right before the half. There we see Law and Bird. We featured them. 2 goals for Law, 1 for Bird. Ryan LaPlante played really well with 5 saves there in the first half. He'll give way to Jamie Faust for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, and with LaPlante playing so well, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking. But then again, Jamie Faust was an All-American 2 years ago in their Final Four run.
Stick around. We have got Jamie Faust between the pipes coming up momentarily as we look to face off the second half of action. There is Jamie Faust, an All-American as a freshman, led Denver to the national semifinals. He suffered an Achilles injury against Notre Dame last year in South Bend. And that's the one that really got him off of the radar, but he came back stronger. He's healthy now, and he's really earned his way back onto the field.
Well, the freshman All-American tore his Achilles, like basically walking to the huddle. I was watching the game on ESPNU. All of a sudden, I see Faust go down. He's limping off, and it was just a bizarre injury. Luckily, they had LaPlante to take them into the second round of the NCAA tournament. This year, a full-on battle. Looked like LaPlante had it won, but no, Faust is back in.
Well, again, volunteer assistant coach Trevor Tierney, an All-American goaltender at Princeton. He originally said no to his father and head coach Bill Tierney. He said, we got to pick one guy. But after watching both of the players play, both of them battle, competing, he said, you know what? They've both earned the right to play. We're going to split halves. And Princeton, winning national championships, they did it with Pat Cairns, they did it with Pancho Gutstein back in the late 90s. They're trying to do it here in 2013 with Ryan LaPlante and Jamie Faust.
The interesting thing is that Faust is a righty, LaPlante is a lefty. So Notre Dame, you know, they really had some great chances that they didn't cash in on. Now they're shooting on a new goalie and with a different handedness. It's going to be interesting to see if that has any impact on this second half.
We'll see any adjustments Notre Dame needs to make in dealing with the new goalie. But going from the first half to the second half, Jamie, overall, what do you see adjustments Notre Dame needs to make on the offensive end?
Basically, it's their shooting. We talked early about their shooting percentage, what they needed to achieve, 30%. They're getting good shots most of the time, not hammering them home, but they've taken a few bad ones that I just don't think are going to get it done.
Well, there you see Jamie Faust took a risk running that shot to the end line. Had that ball been given to Notre Dame, another rule change. Goalies no longer have 5 seconds to return to their crease area after chasing a shot or running out of clear. So had that ball been awarded to Notre Dame, you would have seen Faust on his horse back to the cage, and Notre Dame with a potential empty net shot. But Faust won the race to the end line. Goalies being much more judicious here in 2013 as when they stray from their crease area.
Well, it used to be just simply a stalling technique to get the defense set. Now it's a really all or nothing. You get that ball or you're not going.
Shot out of bounds, possession retained by Denver. Coming up on Wednesday, 6 o'clock Eastern, UMass versus Lehigh. Our ESPNU Warrior game of the week, Wednesday night game of the week. But right now, we've got a heck of a ball game on our hands. Number 3 Denver leading number 4 Notre Dame, 6-4. Eric Law feeds up top to Wesley Berg. Berg fakes the pass, then gets it over to Jeremy Noble. Noble head of steam. He's been quiet offensively here in the first 30 minutes plus of action. That pass goes awry. Great ground ball by Brian Buglione of the Notre Dame defense to get the transition started for the Irish.
It's interesting because Denver's playing straight up zone. Well, Notre Dame is a man-to-man team with zone concepts behind it. Every time you see a Denver player dodging, you'll see the Notre Dame defense collapsing and zoning up areas while slides are going, only to quickly regain their matchups. Very, very fascinating defensive techniques.
Denver has not strayed from this zone defense philosophy. Again, lit up by Penn State in their only loss of the season, 15-12. But they are still giving up over 10 goals a game coming into this one, 10.3. Shot wide. Back up Notre Dame. Scoring offense, you can see, Jamie. For Denver, they average right around 13.5 goals a game. They've only got 6. They're halfway there. They're on their mark.
I'll tell you what they're doing too is they are forcing Notre Dame into a lot of outside shots.
Shot goes wide. That's the 17th shot by the Irish. Does Notre Dame seem frustrated to you by this zone defense?
Not yet, but I think you're going to see frustration pretty soon if they don't start hammering home some of the shots that they're getting. I feel like some of them are a little bit too far out. This one here will be fine.
Off the cage again. So the last 3-4 shots by Notre Dame, not even on the 6x6. Marlott shot, Faust met it. High heat again, knocked down, heady play by Connor Doyle. Ball's loose in front, weaving, kneeling, dealing, missing the cage. And we're gonna have a flag for a late hit on the Denver Pioneers. Notre Dame misses out on the opportunity to score, but they're gonna have a man up.
Faust stands up to the high heat. Marlott tips his cards. And then all of a sudden, Faust's outlet tipped. Great opportunity, late hit, high hit, results in a penalty.
Connor Doyle with the heady play to knock down the clearing attempt, picked up by Ryan Foley, but Foley then misses the cage. Ryan Foley still looking for his first goal of 2013. Shot Faust. He looks fresh, Jamie. He looks sharp. How hard is it for a goalie to come in basically cold like Jamie Faust is right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, the guys that, like we talked about, he's a former first-team he was an All-American as a freshman, and the kid basically, you know, he sees the ball. He's clearly seeing it right now.
Making 2 nice stops, one on Marlott's shot, that last one on the EMO offering by Notre Dame. So Denver, their defense holds. This is Eric Law. Good defense by Matt Miller, forces Law to cough up the pill. Eric Adamson, he's been quiet today a little bit for the Denver midfield. Interesting, you talk about the parts of this Denver offense. Adamson, according to Bill Tierney, will be the quarterback of the attack next year. He'll be the ex-attackman, where Eric Law is playing behind the goal this season. Adamson spins, shot, score! Eric Adamson, operating from where he might operate mostly from in 2014, goes behind the cage, spin move, he gets the goal.
This kid is so two-handed. Most people can't do what he can do. he'll come around and jam it home right-handed. I've seen him do that left-handed. Coaching staff says he's the most two-handed player they've ever seen, which is why he's going to take over for Law as the X guy. Got to be two-handed in that spot.
Adamson, lately recruited out of college, was all set to go to Arizona State and play for Chris Malone. And Bill Tierney got a call over the summer, said, you got to look at this kid. Tierney said he looked at him, he said, I want him playing for me. Adamson said, sure, coach, I'll come to Denver.
Well, that's a perfect example of just how much talent there is out there. A kid like Adamson is going to go play club lacrosse in the NCAA, and here he is as a sophomore, being a huge-time contributor for the Denver Pioneers, third in the country.
Scored 5 goals against Duke, all in the second half. He made a play in the middle of the second quarter of that game where Bill Tierney threw his hat and said, get him out of the game. I don't want him going back in the rest of the contest. Luckily, offensive coordinator Matt Brown didn't listen. 5 goals later, and 13 goals now later in the season, Adamson is a key component of this Denver offense. Pioneers back on the attack. Chase Carrero getting an offensive run. Ball's tipped. If this ball's picked up by Denver, it will be a timer on. Nice aggressive checking by the Notre Dame attack. Ground ball picked up by Matt Cavanaugh. Cavanaugh dips inside. Shot, score! Flag comes out late. But Matt Cavanaugh, with a great ground ball, makes a U-turn to the cage, slips under the Denver dig.
What a stud Cavanaugh is. He kicks this ball out, picks it up. He knows he wants to go to the cage, so he looks like he's gonna pass. Dips underneath, dives, and the flag comes out. You know it's a goal as soon as you see that flag. They're not calling it in the crease.
What an athletic play by Matt Cavanaugh. Great job by the freshman. Penalty is wiped out. It was a push. 30-second technical fouls like pushes and holds are wiped out if goals are scored. Had that been a personal foul or slash or something, it would have carried over. Notre Dame off the restart. Quick shot, score! Notre Dame's got 2 in a row. The face-off man, Liam O'Connor, and Jamie proof positive that the quick restart has made this, again, the fastest game on 2 feet.
When there is some sort of an infraction and you don't know which way the ball is supposed to be going, you better get back on defense. Here, Denver doesn't know they don't know what the call is. Notre Dame does. They get behind him, and here we are with the quick restart, fast break. Faust guesses low, ball goes high.
Under the old rules, the officials may have held their whistle for a second or two to get spacing, to get 5 yards. With these new rules, you got to be 5 yards away from the offensive player. You're going to get dinged with a delay of game penalty. And you see the referees lining up there, Jamie. One of the coaches has said something's going on in the face-off, and they want the referees to really pay attention to it. So both referees were right up on the face-off, and they got Notre Dame with a violation. Feed inside, Wesley Burke can't get it on cage. Notre Dame wins the race to the end line.
How about that stick work, though? That's like interior passing. They jammed it inside to Noble, and he has the poise to find Berg. That could have been a beautiful goal.
Notre Dame with 2 goals in 10 seconds. To cut this Pioneer lead to 1. The Irish back on offense. This Notre Dame team in the past, it was always, you get a lead on the Irish, they can't scratch through, they can't claw their way back into games. They've come from behind against North Carolina. They came from behind against Penn State. Shot, they're coming from behind against Denver today. A rocket out of the stick of Sean Rogers ties this game up at 7-all.
Notre Dame with really fantastic ball movement, a wind up over to Rogers, and he goes high to high, but he leans down a little bit. Faust is anticipating a low shot. Can't catch back up to the high heat.
After a hot start for Jamie Faust, the last 3 Fighting Irish shots have found the back of the cage. Ensuing faceoff is won by Carrera. Carrera comes in, looks like he's going to shoot. Shot just wide. Carrera limited in his offensive shifts here today. I've only seen him out there once in 6-on-6 settled offense. He's taken mostly all of the faceoffs for Denver. First midfield unit for the Pioneers back in on the field. Cam Flint, Jeremy Noble, and Eric Adamson. This is David Miller with the short stick D against Noble. Flint now going up against Miller. O'Hara now against Wesley Berg. Sees the pick, avoids it. Great communication by the Notre Dame defense. Berg gets it behind the Law. Law to a cutter shot. Korver. Goal! Kevin Corrigan says the unique hybrid style of Denver is tough to defend. And Eric Law to Gordy Korver is proof positive.
Denver is just so patient. Notre Dame playing great defense. Draw the slide. Second slide comes out of the crease. That's where the opening is. They jam it right inside to Korver, who does not miss.
Such a great presence is Gordy Korver. His second of the game for the Denver Pioneers.
Notre Dame should not have slid into Berg on that play. He was not in a position where he was going to score, and it really created the offense for Denver.
Loose ball picked up. This is Garrett Holst. He legs it out of the defensive end. Cut off by Landis. Nice recovery by the Denver long stick midi to get back into the hole and cut off that transition opportunity for Denver. Under 6 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. Denver 8, Notre Dame 7. Cannizzaro wheels the ball out. It's up to Archer. Archer down the left alley. Gives it up. Quinn Culley defending Archer again. Up to Cannizzaro. Second midfield unit for Denver on the field. We've seen as many as 5 or 6 guys out there for Coach Bill Tierney, trying to find the right mix, the right chemistry to get some productivity. Eric Law up top, mishandled by Denver. Here comes Notre Dame. Fast break opportunity, it's O'Hara. O'Hara up to Rogers.
I'm surprised Notre Dame didn't push that break. I think the attack were thinking that it was not necessarily going to be a break, and they had to come up and try to play the ground ball. Denver caught a break right there because they really could have had some at least 4-on-4 action.
Denver with their 9th turnover of the contest. Second midfield unit now on the field for Notre Dame. This is Tyler Kimball over to Stephen Murphy. Murphy tests that zone defense, gets it up to Kimball. Kimball takes the shot. Second midfield unit offensively on the field now for Denver. Cannizzaro stuck on defense. Murphy. Cutter coming underneath. Notre Dame doesn't see it. Spin pass, shots off the pipe. Matt Cavanaugh with a rocket. Possession retained by Notre Dame. Murphy steps in. Feed behind to Doyle. Doyle coming around, shot, score! Great ball movement by Notre Dame. Great recognition by Connor Doyle. And we are tied once again.
I was wondering when they were going to get that ball inside to Cavanaugh. He's been inside all day. He hits the pipe, but then after the rebound, beautiful play coming around, double fake finish, caught the defense, rotating and out of position.
Connor Doyle with his second of the day. The ball don't lie. Cavanaugh rings it off the pipe. Doyle's able to get the feed and stick it. Here comes O'Connor. O'Connor down the heart of the Denver D. Poke loose. Loose ball corralled by Carson Cannon. Cannon turns it back to Faust. Faust under intense pressure. Doyle with the ride for Notre Dame, but Faust is able to get out of it. 15 ground balls for Denver in this one. That one was a biggie. And Faust getting out of there with the presence of mind to avoid the check of Connor Doyle. Adamson now sweeps across the top of the box. Being guarded by Jack Neer, sophomore out of Bronxville, New York, for the Fighting Irish. First midfield unit back in the game for Denver. Noble gives it up. Left-handed drive by Adamson. A great battle here between number 3 and number 4. Denver, Notre Dame, knotted up at 8. Westberg with the matchup against a short stick. It's Jack Neer. Nice save by Kemp. That's why he is a first-team All-American.
What a big-time save. Berg coming around, has his man beat. Holds his stick low. I really thought he was going to pull it high, but Kemp stays on it. It ends up being like a big-time play.
There you see David Miller walking the tightrope here at Sports Authority Field. 20th shot for Denver. Only the 3rd save here today, Jamie, for John Kemp. Faust comes out to double. Ball's up quickly. This is Ocello. Ocello over to Murphy. Murphy steps in, shot just over the cage. Only 3 saves for John Kemp. Not having a good game or not getting a lot of support?
I don't think it's either. I think he's made some big saves. I think the shots that have gone in are shots that are going to go in. They've been brilliant shots from really close, high percentage angles and close proximity.
An unforced error, a turnover by Notre Dame. A simple exchange pass from Connor Doyle goes awry. In a game this tight and so closely contested, turnovers like that will hurt you.
Yet it was just when Notre Dame was starting to really get into an offensive rhythm and they'd sort of gotten to Faust, and then they have a turnover like that right after Liam O'Connor, really pushes the tempo on a face-off and he turns it over. That's not the recipe for success.
Chase Guerrero checking into the game for Denver. Coming up on 1 minute left here in the 3rd quarter. It's coming down nip and tuck, as these two teams always seem to do when they get together. Flag down. Feet up top to Guerrero, shot, save, John Kemp. And then Kemp takes a whack from Eric Law, takes exception. Referees do a great job of getting in between these two players.
Kemp standing up to the high heat of Carrero. Doesn't like Law whacking at his stick.
You don't think this game is intense?
Let's talk about that foul, though. What was that? They call it cross-check?
Notre Dame penalty, number 42, Matthew Collins, 1 minute cross-check.
Cross-check is the call.
I got to be honest, that was a horrible call. I mean, every single defensive stand I've seen, there's been cross-checking exactly like that. That was not gross, overdoing it of the cross-check whatsoever, in my opinion. It was just a classic bump. It's been happening on every play. Why call it there?
Denver gets the man up off the cross-check penalty. The man up today so far, fruitless for Denver. They came in at a 40% success clip. Game 2 of the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic. Mark Dixon, Jamie Monroe here, Notre Dame and Denver all tied at 8 apiece. Denver with the man up. Jeremy Noble initiates. Law feeds, shot, score! Excellent ball movement, terrific execution. Denver takes another 1-goal lead.
The way these guys move the ball and get it backside, honestly, you just don't see much of that anywhere in Division I lacrosse. They get you rotating, they skip it, and Law with a quick release to the backside to Corbin.
Jeremy Noble with the hockey assist. Eric Law to Gordy Korber. The freshman has his third of the afternoon. Such incredible execution by that Denver offense. O'Connor jumps. That's his second, Notre Dame's second face-off violation of the half. The next one is going to be a 30-second violation against the Irish. Feet up top, 5 seconds left. Flint looking to get free, cannot. Ball's loose, Notre Dame picks up the ground ball as time expires in the third quarter. Another classic is on our hands. Denver leads Notre Dame 9-8. We got the final 15 minutes of action coming your way. Time for our fourth quarter here at the Whitman Sample Mile High Classic. But now let's take a look at Game Track, brought to you by Warrior.
When you think about Denver, you know Eric Law is the leader with 2 and 2. He's playing great. Korber, the freshman, he's been out. He's got a hat trick. Flint's playing great. Noble, they got so many weapons. Wesley Berg, he was our edge, and you know, he's got an assist, but he hasn't done a whole lot, and you know, they can explode at any time with so many different weapons.
These teams no strangers to one-goal games against each other. Last year was an overtime, triple overtime thriller in South Bend, won by Notre Dame 10-9. Do we have extra lacrosse here today in the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic? Denver leads Notre Dame 9-8. 2 face-off violations against Notre Dame. The next one results in a 30-second penalty. What does that do to the psyche and the mindset of your face-off taker?
It's going to impact you because you know you don't want to put yourself man down, but at the same time, you just got to do your job. So now it's just a matter of like making sure you line up right and just try to outquick him without jumping the whistle.
Denver wins the first face-off of the fourth quarter. Gordy Korber with the pass, knocked down. Nice play by Brian Buglione, the junior out of Vestal, New York, 6'4", 210.
They've got transition if they'll move it.
Notre Dame defensive stand. Buglione creates the turnover. Ball back in the sticks of the Notre Dame offense. First midfield unit in the game right now for Coach Kevin Corrigan, his son Will Corrigan, Ryan Foley, Jim Marlotte into the contest. Feed is up to Foley. Foley fakes a shot, gets it behind the cage. Feed it, crease, shot and score! Beautiful ball movement by Notre Dame. The goal. Scored by number 33 of the Irish. Ryan Mix checking into the game.
It's critical to get the ball inside. The skip pass opens up the inside cut. Beautiful feed, beautiful finish. Ties up the ball game.
Taking a page out of the Denver Pioneers' quick ball movement that we've seen so far in this game. Flawless execution by the Irish, and we're tied up again.
The Irish tend to designate an inside man in their zone offense. And it had been the freshman, number 50, Kavanaugh. Now they got him probably on the perimeter while they've got Mix on the inside.
Mix, a junior out of Newport Beach, California, his first goal of the year. Face-off violation against Chase Carrero. 2 officials right at the face-off dot, watching both men take these draws. You have to be careful. Marlotte with the shot. ESPNU's Warrior Game of the Week continues Wednesday as the Mountain Hawks, led by their attack duo of David DeMaria and Dante Fantoni, host the Tough Minutemen. The Warrior Game of the Week, UMass versus Lehigh, Wednesday at 6 on ESPNU and live on Watch ESPN. Right now we're watching a thriller between Notre Dame and Denver, tied up at 9 apiece. Tough ride by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Their 30th shot for Notre Dame was a save by Pioneer netminder Jamie Faust. Second midfield unit on the field now for the Pioneers. Archer. Bailey Dodds. Archer with the strong move. Quick double by Notre Dame. Ball's moved backside. Pioneers looking for cutters. Nice defense by O'Hara. It's a warding call against Denver. Flag down. This is where we're going to see it, Jamie. 5 yards was not given by the Denver defender. It's Wesley Berg. Delay of game penalty coming against the Pioneers. It's interference. You got to give 5 yards to the offensive player on the restart. Wesley Berg didn't do it in that situation.
Here the refs call a ward. So Notre Dame's saying, drop the ball, drop the ball. So he whacks it out of his stick. First he delayed the game a little bit there, then he doesn't get out of the way. And it's kind of a rookie mistake there on Wesley Berg's part.
When he dropped the ball, he then checked O'Hara's stick. Stood right next to him and checked him. And you saw Bill Tierney look at him as he exited the field like, what are you doing? 30-second man-up opportunity for Notre Dame. Jimmy Morlot steps in. Feed over shot, just wide.
Very nicely conceived play. They pick one side, draw the box, far corner of the box into the middle. They had a really good shot opportunity right there. Look for them to do it again.
A lot of motion here for the extra man offense. It's Morlot to Doyle, feed side, nifty handle, spin shot, goal! Notre Dame cashes in. It's John Sosha with the score. His first touch means a goal for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame with a nice throwback, and they're getting the ball inside. The last 2 goals have been inside finishes, and if they can get the ball inside this Denver offense, they're going to be able to have easier shots on the outside. Great job by Notre Dame getting that thing inside, and what a nifty turnaround finish.
Notre Dame with the lead. They've clawed, they've fought, they've scratched. Off of the face-off, ball to the wing. Nice play, scoop between the legs by Landis. Picked up by Notre Dame. Jack Neer pushes the issue, wheels back out. Jamie's been a long time since Notre Dame has led in this game. You have to go all the way back to the first quarter where they led 2-1. We've seen aggressive offense by the Irish to get this lead. For Kevin Corrigan, what are you telling your team here with a 1-goal advantage?
I think he's telling them to keep doing the same thing you're doing. Try to find the inside opportunities, and if they overcover it, we're going to have great chances from a little bit closer in on the outside shots.
Fired wide by Tyler Kimball, just off the mark. Coming up on the 10-minute mark here, fourth quarter. Notre Dame 10, Denver 9. Ball's loose on the crease. Faust is out of his cage. Look out. Nice aggressive ride. Everybody's fighting for it. 4 blue jerseys. The ball's played back into the middle. Who wants it? It comes up. Stephen Murphy of Notre Dame. Wheels out. Unsettled opportunity. Held up by the Irish.
It's like an offensive rebound in basketball. It is huge when you get offensive ground balls.
Kimball with another shot off the mark again, wide. 23 ground balls for Notre Dame in this contest.
If you notice, Notre Dame's pretty good at hocking it around and goosing it to each other. So if the ball's near the sideline, they don't pick it up and run out with it. They knock it back into an area. They're talking through that. They practice that.
Result of communication, and knowing where your teammate is. Jim Marlock. Gets it over to Murphy. A little bit of a hybrid midfield being run right now by Coach Kevin Corrigan. Murphy steps in, pulls it out. This tight zone defense of Denver gives up that 12-yard shot. Stopped by Jamie Faust. Faust wheels out of his crease. Gets it over to Carson Cannon. Cannon cross field now. To Garrett Holtz. Holtz legs it into the offensive box. Another possession now for the Denver Pioneers.
Big save by Faust for his own confidence, for his team's confidence. Just when Notre Dame was feeling like they had him, they didn't.
The ninth save for Denver. That one rings off the post. Unlucky is Eric Adamson. The race to the sideline won by the Pioneers. It's Eric Wall. Let's get a look at that shot by Adamson in the replay. Wow. Wesley Berg up to Adamson. Over to Noble. First midfield back in for Denver. Noble with the wing dodge. Tries to get underneath. Feed. Back to Eric Wall. Shot, score. And a flag down. Noble draws the double. Quick exchange behind the cage to Law, who sticks it. We'll see what the penalty is.
This is Denver's high offense. They get underneath everybody, drawing the X-Man's guy. The reason why Law has such a high shooting percentage, he scores 1 or 2 of these goals a game where they dump it to him behind. Usually, though, it's a one-timer. That one, very, very nifty step around, wrap around. His feet were actually behind the goal line as he reaches, stick around, score that goal and create an angle.
Crafty finish by Law. The penalty is on Notre Dame. It is a slash, a 1-minute foul. Those fouls carry over even if you score a goal, and we're going to see a true 3-on-2 face-off here. Another rule change. You cannot bring an attackman up to the wing line to make it 3-on-3. It'll be 3-on-2 as Denver faces off in the extra man situation.
Mark, I love that rule too. I never understood why you'd make it all even when you were a man up. Why wouldn't you have the advantage on the face-off?
Carrero plays it forward, gets taken down, another flag. You see Carrero getting up gingerly, limping off with that injured knee. Carrero pops it forward.
Unlucky trip. Honestly, I don't think if Carrero's healthy, he blasts right through that contact. There's no way he goes down on that. But he landed on that hurt knee and he limped off.
It's a 30-second hold. So now, Denver, a 2-man advantage. 6-on-4 Lacrosse. Notre Dame, you see in that tight box, square. Trying to keep Denver at bay.
Look at the posture of those defensemen, all down low, all helping to the middle.
Noble inside to Berg. Berg shoots and scores. Denver takes advantage of the 2-man up opportunity, and they reclaim the lead.
Denver gets it inside to Berg. Berg holds his stick low, but he twitches. He fakes. And then finds the offside low. Watch the subtle little hesitation, the hitch in his shot, freezes the goaltender. It was just beautiful.
Both of the fouls for Notre Dame were releasable, meaning when a goal is scored, everybody can come back in, and the teams are back at even strength right now. It's O'Connor against Hampton. Chris Hampton in for Chase Carrero. We saw Carrero limping off of the field.
Going back to Faust's save. Look, that was huge. You know, Denver, Notre Dame's on a roll. Faust comes up with a huge save. 2 goals later, Denver's got the lead back.
Chase Carrero right now at the Denver Pioneers being attended to by medical staff on the Denver bench. Just under 7 minutes left to go in this terrific contest. Denver 11, Notre Dame 10. This game has been everything we thought it would be, and then some as Jimmy Marlotte lets fly just wide. Carrero now off the bench. Looks like he's ready to go back in. That kid's a warrior. Feet on the crease, misread. Ball stays out, another flag comes out. Penalties right now, Jamie, are really hurting Notre Dame.
No question. And it's the end of the game, and it really matters. And you just can't give Denver too many chances. They're going to start running away with this thing if you keep fouling.
It's a slash call against Notre Dame. Take a look at the replay. Matt Cavanaugh, the offending party. Notre Dame goes down a man again. 6-on-5 Lacrosse. Jeremy Noble aggressively defended. Colin Scott wheels it out. Extra man specialist today is Colin Scott. He had 5 assists against Penn a couple weeks back. Noble up to Scott. Down low shot, save, John Kemp. Nice stop by the All-American.
I love the way Denver drags their man a little bit before they throw it. It really takes away the ability for the defense to recover.
Up top is Wesley Berg. Berg down to Eric Law.
Noble wanted the ball right there. He was wide open on the inside.
Colin Scott dragging across the face of this man down Notre Dame unit. Shot to score! Gordy Korber, his 4th of the afternoon, slips under the defense of Notre Dame and snaps it high. No goal. Waved off, crease violation against Gordy Korber. A break for the Irish.
Big time break. I've seen that call go both ways. Notre Dame just had to pray they were going to call a dive.
A big call, no goal for Denver. The score remains 11-10. This is Foley. What a game. Jim Marlott, feet up top. Gets it back. Shot just off the mark.
I like to see Notre Dame drive and fade. That's where a lot of on the wings is where they've got their best looks.
Here we're going to take a look at Notre Dame's offense. Jim Marlott operating things from up top. Back to Corrigan. Denver in that zone. Notre Dame's been able to expose the middle. Can they do it on this possession? Skip pass. Face on shot, save. Jamie Faust stands tall, denies Ryan Foley, and a timeout is taken by Notre Dame. The crease violation against Gordy Korber. Waved off. Referees say he dove into the crease. You can't dive in lacrosse. On the other end, Jamie Faust with a big save. Stick around. Notre Dame's ball when we get back.
Listen up, men. It's time we learn to make the big plays, and they start with chocolate, because women love chocolate. Birthdays, Mother's Days, anniversaries, special occasions, treat each one like it's the championship game. The big play? Give her the Whitman Sampler, an American classic.
From the Mile High Classic in Denver to the Independence Classic in Philadelphia, the Whitman Sampler is a proud sponsor of college lacrosse. Here's hoping that your favorite team comes out on top. And remember, the big games call for an American classic. Give her a Whitman Sampler.
The decoy worked.
Man, LA paparazzi are crazy.
Everybody okay back there?
Yep, all good.
How about you, Jeff?
Jeff? Hey, guys, we're out of toilet paper.
I think there's some under the sink.
I'm on the wrong RV, aren't I?
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
Reason number 12 why you should own a ThermoSpa's hot tub. They require no attachment to your home's plumbing. Simply fill it with a garden hose and plug it in. ThermoSpa's unique thermofiltration system is completely built in and filters the water an incredible 144 times a day, so your water stays crystal clear with very little maintenance. All you need to do is enjoy yourself every day of the year. Call to receive a free DVD and 48-page brochure and learn the most important reason. Buying direct, you can own a ThermoSpa for only a few dollars a day. Call now and we'll include free delivery, free chemicals, and a $400 cash coupon. This $1,000 offer is free.
Call 1-800-603-6674.
ThermoSpas. Luxurious hot tubs made affordable.
Welcome back to the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic. And we have got a classic on our hands right now. Number 3 ranked Denver leading the 4th ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, 11-10. Jamie, take us through the crease violation on Gordy Korber.
Korber does a great job getting under the defense, and he dives. If the flag had been thrown, it would have been counted as a goal because it would have been the signification that there was a push, but there was no push. Notre Dame got their stick in there and tried to trail check it, and the dive ending up in the crease is no goal.
Players cannot voluntarily leave their feet and land in the crease. There you saw O'Hara did not push. Gordy Korber launched himself, landed in the crease. Good call by the officials. We stay at 11-10 out of the timeout. Less than 4 minutes left to go in this one. Cavanaugh behind, feet up top, knocked away. Nice stick by the Denver defense. Ground ball at midfield is Garrett Holtz. Can he come up with it? He does. Spins out of pressure. Tough ground ball by Garrett Holtz. Denver back on the attack. Coming up on the 3-minute mark here. The Pioneers leading the Fighting Irish 11-10. Jeremy Noble slips out of the Notre Dame double team, being guarded by Buglione. Timer on against Denver. 30 seconds to shoot. Feed back. Law has the defense hung up, comes around the crease, shoots and scores! Eric Law gives the mile-high salute to the Denver faithful. The crowd loves it. The Pioneers are back up by 2.
Law hangs his man up, which means he's stuck in front of the net. Law goes opposite the way the defender comes. No help. And a really beautiful read and a great finish as he wraps the ball around to the far side.
And this Denver team, Jamie, shooting so efficiently, coming into the game shooting 40%. They have got 12 goals on 25 shots in this one.
Unbelievable. It's actually absolutely off the charts. I've never seen a team shoot this well. And they're going against the best goalie of the last, 3 years. He's got, 5 saves. And he's not even playing poorly. How can you blame him? These shots, the way they create offense, the way they script it, and the way they finish and pass, it's really amazing.
So efficient. The Denver Pioneer offense. Shot goes wide. Under 2 minutes left to go here. Denver leading Notre Dame 12-10. Denver still in that zone defense. The Irish trying to figure it out. Murphy steps in, shot, score! An absolute bullet by Stephen Murphy. Cuts the Notre Dame deficit to 1.
I'll tell you, the one thing about both these teams is they both have guts, and they've both come back in games before. Notre Dame banging the ball around in the zone offense. Murphy says, okay, you're not going to play me, I'll step in. I'm not just going to step in, I'm going to bang that thing home. Beautiful little crow hop, high heat, off stick side high.
Murphy with an incredible delivery. 5th goal of the season, 2nd here today. Can it ignite a comeback by the Fighting Irish? Procedure, hold on Denver. Notre Dame will get the possession they need to tie this game. Irish with 1 timeout remaining. Denver with 2. The chant of defense coming from this partisan Denver crowd. Murphy, who scored the last goal, has the ball. Under a minute to play. Denver leads 12-11. Matt Cavanaugh, little judder step. Comes in, shot, score! The feed! Inside to Sean Rogers. We have another tie. Denver and Notre Dame deadlocked at 12 apiece.
Sean Rogers has made a career of scoring big goals. Here is Cavanaugh draws 2 and backhand flips it. Sean Rogers comes around with just enough of an angle. Watch this, draw 2, backhand flip, a little backhand play like in hockey. Big time play.
A year ago, early season, Rogers scored 3 straight game winners. This year, Cavanaugh has scored 2 game winners. Clutch to clutch right there. Cavanaugh to Rogers. Timeout on the field. Do not go anywhere. Notre Dame and Denver deadlocked at 12.
You'll be up top. All right. So we're pressing over here. Which one of you wants to be high? Sean, I'll be high. You'll be high.
The countdown to the tournament is on.
Gonzaga, champions of the West Coast Conference, #1 team in the country, and perhaps locking up a #1 seed.
ESPNU has the madness of March covered from every angle with Cat's Corner, College Basketball Live, The Experts, and exclusive coverage of the Women's Selection Special. The tournament countdown tips off tomorrow at 1 on ESPNU.
You'll be up top. All right. So we're pressing over here. Which one of you wants to be high? Sean, I'll be high. You'll be high. All right, Rogers, Kev, you're here. Okay, Marla, you're here. Mix, you're here. Okay. Will, you're like here, okay? And stepping off behind, if they don't have anything, step it off. Okay, and then Foles, you're here, stepping down into Liam, we're not jumping, okay? If he beats you, he beats you. And if he gets in front of you, just get underneath of him. Is Lando right width on the wing? Lando is staying with his guy. And near your own. Let's go! 1, 2, 3! Come out of the box!
Great sound from Kevin Corrigan directing his troops. Huge face-off. It's Hampton. Comes up with it initially, knocked loose. Mike Reese picks up the ground ball. Coming up on 40 seconds left in this one. Reese spins it back. 30-second clear clock is now on for Denver. They have to get the ball in the offensive box within 30 seconds. We'll see if they take a timeout once they enter the offensive area. Cam Flint wheels back. Timeout called by Bill Tierney.
Interesting to listen to Coach Corrigan in the huddle. First of all, he's drawing up the next play that they're going to run, the motion that they're going to run on the zone offense. I loved how he was asking his players, hey, where do you want to be? Who wants to be high? That's great when a coach does that because it allows the players to be a part of the action. Then they say on the faceoffs, hey, we got 2 violations. If we lose it, we lose it. We're not jumping. We're not giving up a 6-on-5 man down.
Point to your guard, okay? We don't need any confusion, boys. Down there. Let's fucking go, boys. Today's the day, White. Believe in your Be tough on 3. 1, 2, 3. Be tough. Let's go. Let's fucking go, boys.
Jamie, 20 seconds left. You're Denver. What's the game plan?
Coach Brown has had a couple of beauties that he's drawn up already. One, the pick and roll off of 2 passes. The other, the little flip play behind the net with the backside seal. I guarantee you, Coach has something up his sleeve that's going to be unique and different. And if I was Notre Dame, I'd be a little scared because these guys can execute. It's amazing.
We saw Denver score a goal with only a few ticks of the clock left at the end of the second quarter. Can the Pioneers get another goal here in the last 20 seconds to take the 2013 regular season matchup between these 2 powerhouses? The crowd is on their feet. Ball will start with Cam Flint. Over to Noble. It's Eric Law on Miller. Cam Flint from up top. Less than 10 seconds left in this one. Adamson with a drag. Excuse me, Wesley Berg does not get the shot off on time. We are going to extra lacrosse. Overtime for the 2nd year in a row. As Bill Tierney just shakes his head.
Denver ran the little pick pass, pick down, the pick and the pass down. They were looking for Noble inside. It wasn't there, but they had another look ready to go. But Adamson wasn't able to get enough of a step on their man. Sound defense by Notre Dame right there.
Here's how we got here, Jamie. The game-tying goal. Kavanaugh to Rogers.
The way Kavanaugh dodged the zone, posted it up, drew a slide is exactly what you have to do against the zone. You can't just pass it around. You must penetrate. And then Rogers is up to the task of finishing.
Against North Carolina, Sean Rogers scored a goal with 57 seconds left in the 4th. Kavanaugh scored with 11 seconds left to force overtime. Kavanaugh got the game winner. Here today, with only 40 some odd seconds left, the goal was scored by Sean Rogers of Notre Dame. There we see Notre Dame undefeated in overtime this year, 2-0.
Mark, what's the rule? You're an official. What's the rule on the faceoffs now that we're in overtime and out of that half? Do we have a new set? Are we press restart on the faceoff violations rule?
Clean slate. Clean slate. First half doesn't carry over in the second half. Second half doesn't carry over into overtime.
And would first overtime carry over to second overtime, or do you have another clean slate within the period?
Clean slate. Get a good look at Jamie Faust. They're the Golden Domes of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They have scratched and clawed their way back. 2 goals in the last minute, 43 seconds to force overtime. This will be the 4th consecutive 1-goal game for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
With the high percentage that Notre Dame is scoring on possessions, if I'm Notre Dame, I really want to get this face-off more than normally. Coach Byrne, I guarantee you, feels very comfortable on defense. Right now, I feel much better on offense than having Denver have the ball.
Other than Duke, every game has been a nail-biter for Notre Dame in 2013. Carrero back for the face-off against O'Connor. O'Connor pops it forward, goes down. Scrum around midfield, picked up by Notre Dame. Each team gets one timeout in the overtime session. The Irish looks like they will play on. I stand corrected. Timeout, Notre Dame. You're looking for a hero in this game. If you're Denver, you got to get the ball back, and if the Pioneers are able to do so, maybe they look to Eric Law to win this thing.
Eric Law has just developed so much. The kid is scrappy. He's a leader. He can stick it from the outside and mid-range. He moves off the ball brilliantly. He can finish. He can feed. This kid, he can do it all. 4-2. He's averaging 4.7 points a game coming into this game. Another 4-2.
Law put the Pioneers up by 2, but Notre Dame has come back to tie.
Time it up. Time it up. Stay high until the wraparound happens up.
You see him try to double,
Ball goes over on
then
the
just get the
line.
fuck back.
Fucking go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Oh.
Denver needs a stop to get the ball back on offense and maybe into the stick of number 11 as Coach Matt Brown, the offensive coordinator for the Denver Pioneers, draws it up in the case that Denver can make a stop here against Notre Dame. You're the Fighting Irish. What was the discussion for Coach Kevin Corrigan in the offensive huddle for Notre Dame?
It's probably a review of what he was going over before. He's basically going to work on dodging, fading, pushing, getting a cutter in there, try to find that skip pass, try to get it inside, or try to get the 10 to 12 yard hammer off the fade.
Notre Dame won a year ago in triple overtime. Denver still in that zone defense. They have been all day, not changing in overtime.
I think a big move by Kevin Corrigan is getting Nix on the crease and getting Kavanaugh on the perimeter. Even though Kavanaugh's a great inside guy, he gives him real slickness and playmaking on the outside.
Jim Marlock winds up, fakes the shot, steps back in, shot, score! Jim Marlock winds up, fakes the shot, steps back in, shot, score!